full room. We haven't seen this scene for a while. My name is Hua Xin. Glad to see you here. This is the program introduction for interaction design. Our main target audience today should be senior year students, right? So if you want to apply for senior year admission, and this is the right room for interaction design. We do have very few individuals that are younger, and if they want to understand what interaction design is as a field, then this is also the room, okay? So if you have grabbed our program brochure, right? So we actually have 9 design disciplines. So this is one of the 9 design disciplines. So you enter for 4-year program, they start from foundation year, and then the second year they enter a cluster, and then the third year they enter specifically interaction design, okay? So this is a little bit unusual because what is interaction design right now is still a mystery for a lot of people. There's a lot of interpretation, a lot of definitions over there, so people have different views what interaction design is. So I'm going to just presenting you our view, okay? This is our perspective. This is our understanding what interaction design is. So I'm thinking this is probably an easy example just to explain what it is, right? Interaction design is closely linked to product design, okay? But if we think our everyday product, for example, the speaker, nice looking cool speaker on the left side, and the intelligent speaker on the right side. And how many of you think, if you can raise your hand, if you think you know what is the difference between these 2 types of speakers, then you just put up your hand. You don't have to speak. No one knows? Come on. So I already have this functionality, right? Of course, as a speaker, they both play sound, right? And they have certain control, right? But this one, it says smart home hub, right? So you can use the speaker to control your smart home appliances, your lights, right? That kind of thing. And also there's Alexa, who's talking to you, can take your question or command, right? So obviously this is different from others, right? So this difference is what makes it interaction design. So if I want to convert a traditional product into an interactive product with certain intelligence, with more digital functions, using digital or computational technology, this is where interaction design comes in, okay? All right, so I'm going to just go through more examples to give you a feel. Another comparison, we have a Bruce Lee exhibition at the Hong Kong Heritage Museum, right? I'm sure some of you went. And then our students, right, our past students also create this Bruce Lee exhibition in virtual reality, so that people can wear the goggle and experience it, and then they can actually walk around Bruce Lee's old home and even interact with some of the artifacts, some of the objects in the virtual space, right? So if you think of the experience, the difference between these 2 experiences is also where interaction design comes in, right? We really provide interactive functions. Another example, these are not comparison, these are just like a more usual digital product that you're using probably every day, right? So basically mobile app. You would think, okay, mobile app, I'm using it every day, right? So I don't see anything special, right? I use it mostly for utility, you check weather, right? You keep your account, you keep your spending, for example. And then you have social media app, you have all these, right? Messengers. And with mobile app, actually you can put in a lot of interesting function in there too, right? So our students create, for example, this mobile app to manage their emotion, right? So they use the mobile app to replace the traditional journal books, so you can actually do your digital journaling. So you can write down your secret wishes, your emotions, and then the app will have some basic functions, right? Basic intelligence, they can analyze what's going on with you and give you some suggestions or give you some feedback, okay? And this mobile app on the right-hand side is location-based, right? So our students create this mobile app that they want to say, okay, how do you experience a city, right? So you probably are from Hong Kong, most of you, but there's a lot of different corners. They actually have a lot of cultural heritage, a lot of mystery, a lot of different stories, and that's one way to experience the city differently. So this student created some sound clips that each clip is a story, voice-over story, right? But you have to go to that place. For example, Toguawan. You have to go there and to listen to a murder story happening. You go to in front of that industrial building, and this is where that murder happens, and then your app will play that sound clip. You're totally immersive. You're not in a goggle, but you're immersive, right? So this is simply just a mobile app can deliver you that kind of experience. Of course, more utility-driven Internet of Things, smart home, and all these, right now it's like everyday life, right? It's so usual now. Virtual reality and virtual reality game. Not just virtual reality game, our students build physical virtual reality game. Actually, you can swing a sword and battle with people, okay? So you can possibly guess, right? This project was created during pandemic, so that people were trapped at home, lacking exercise, right? So you can do this with your friend in their home, remotely, and to battle with each other. Of course, you know, other than game, other than utility-driven or function-driven, we still have these like artistic experience, right? So for example, for this project, in order to preserve Hong Kong's cultural heritage, they decided to do an interactive installation, right? So you can use, this is a physical model, but in the installation experience, you can actually experience, for example, how you interact with this lion head, how you paint it, right? Follow the stroke. And then the installation will give you different imageries and sound. So that's pretty much, I selected one example out of one type of interaction design, okay? That's the most representative examples. So now you probably have a big idea. And then in our program, after you get here, what do? So you do design interactions, of course. Okay? And then, in order to let that interaction happen, you need to design interfaces, right? If there's no interface, how are you going to get to the product, get to the artifact or the system, right? So there's always some interface in between that you can control through, okay? Some interfaces are more visible than others, okay? And then, overall, your ultimate goal is to design some experiences for people. So this is the focus of interaction design. Give you one student capstone project example. This is, I would call it an integrated hybrid design, which means there's a hardware sensor. So this one is to deliver a controlled, well-managed but still enjoyable drinking experience. Stop. Okay, so the saucer is actually a sensor designed for they actually know how much volume you already consume, right? Once you reach a threshold, there's a companion app here, and to send you a signal. Okay, maybe you should gently nudge you, right? Maybe this is the time you should wind down tonight, right? Because you still want to maintain your health. Okay, so then you can see there's a sensor, there's mobile app, and then you have to be able to manage these two, understand the data you collect from sensor, and make some response, and deliver that response through this mobile app interface back to the user. Okay, so this is the entire flow of interaction design product. This is the core UI of the same project. So you need to be able to also, create all the different mobile app interfaces. Okay. So I hope it's a better idea now, right? What interaction design is. And then this is probably, some of you will know, what am I going to study? What kind of detailed skills or techniques I need to learn? So we actually teach a lot of user research. We teach you how to understand your users, how to get to what they really want, despite what they say to you. What they want might not be what they say, right? So there are different research methods you can learn and to understand people's needs, okay? And then, of course, how do you create user interfaces? We always start from wireframes, right? So you need to have the basic flow, you have the sense, you have the logic, step by step, and then later on you can map out each screen where you place a button. How do you create the layout, right? How do you embed a function into a button, right? And then we also teach you, after you create prototype, we also teach you how to do testing, right? So why we need to do testing? Because you need to kind of prove this thing really works, your design idea really works the way you think it works, right? Then you need to test yourself first, and then you need to recruit the target users, right? And get them over here. If you create some design, for example, for elderly, right? Invite the elderly back and try them. Let them try your design, okay? So prototyping testing, really important. And this is, and then at the end, you need to really know how to present your idea, how to pitch your design, how to introduce your design. So we always do this kind of demo day event for our studio courses, our capstone courses. Okay, I see some parents here. What will you do, right, in the future? What kind of job? Okay, these are the jobs. It gets wider and wider. In order to prepare this slides, I have to look up my LinkedIn to all my past graduates. What are their job titles? This is not all inclusive, okay? I just pick the most common ones here. So I would have to say UX, UI designer is the most common job titles our students, our graduates pick on. But then this is the new trend. In the digital sector, people start calling product design now. So if they say product designer nowadays, not necessarily a physical product anymore. So some of them bear that. When they go senior up, they become product manager, okay? And then there's user researcher, which is for bigger company when they have more complex user research task to do, which required complex data handling, data analytics, right? So these user researchers will do that. And also some of them will go to the digital marketing sector to create like, all sorts of marketing campaign and or use social design, social media to deploy their marketing experience. And then I realized that some of my graduates start picking up job title as service designer. So service design also intersecting largely with user experience design nowadays. So very wide. Okay, more concretely, what kind of content? Again, the slide is too small, I cannot list all of them. I pick the representative and I try to group them into the sectors. So this is where they work. Okay. I'm not going to repeat it, our time is limited. Time is limited, I'm going to leave this. You can find this on the website. And then I know some of you would come to ask me, okay, how should I prepare my portfolio? How can I get in, right? So basically, this is, as an individual profile, this is what we look at. We do look at visual design skill a little bit, but don't be so nervous that you cannot draw, right? Because this is interaction design, this is not, you know, information design, right? So we want to see whether you have insight, whether you have good observations, whether you can communicate, okay? And whether you are a good team player, and we do look at, contrasting to other design disciplines, we do look at technical skills, but it's not a must, it's an asset, right? So if you know a little bit programming, that's a bonus, but it's not a must, because we will teach you what you need to, you know, what you will need to do. Okay, so aesthetic sense, you see, not drawing skill. We need to see like you can present a lookable stuff, right? Not too ugly, right? So you have some sense, then that's good enough. Okay, I haven't double fact check with them, so this is last year's schedule. What I want to emphasize is our focus is really not the portfolio itself, okay? Although in your application, you know, you're recommended to put in a portfolio anyways. But after portfolio, after checking your GPA and stuff, if we screen you in, we will send you an invitation, ask you to create a demo video. This is for students because we know at senior year, like before senior year, a lot of you are actually studying in different fields. You might not have an interaction design work. So this is the opportunity for you to imagine a product, imagine a design, and simply present it in the video format. And then we will further screen by the video, and then we will invite you for an interview. So this is our procedure. Okay, I'm gonna just show, they're not here, only me are here. And then I invited Angela Mack. Oh, yay. I'll invite my student. So Angela was speaking Cantonese, maybe you feel more at ease. So she'll share her experience.
好啦，咁大家好啦，咁呢度開始咧，我會用廣東話去同大家介紹下我讀嘅嗰2年咧係到底讀啲咩，同埋分享一啲我哋嘅學業生活咁樣嘅。咁好啦，我本身咧係讀 HKCC 嘅 Visual Communication 嘅，咁咧就主要係讀平面嘢啦，跟住我就其中有科 elective 咧咁啱係講類似 interactive design 嘅，咁我就對呢科有興趣啦，跟住上網揾咗啲資料啊，跟住睇下嗰年嘅畢業作品咁樣嘅，咁就知道大概係做啲咩咯喎，跟住就最後就揀咗呢一科去繼續讀嘅，係啦。咁讀咗2年之後咧，我就直接喺 PolyU 嗰度做咗 Hash Award 2024 Summer Edition 嘅 Coordinator 啦，咁接觸到唔同嘅學生啦，咁去到而家嘅話咧，咁我就係做緊一個 STEM course 嘅 developer 嘅，咁主要都係針對翻學生同埋主要都針對學生嘅。好啦，咁啱啱都有大概講過點解我會揀呢一科啦。咁除咗上面嘅原因之外咧，咁因為我自己係中意手作嘢嘅。咁呢科咧好特別嘅咧，就係啱啱你哋都有聽到啦，會有 UI、UX 嘢啦，跟住有啲 virtual 嘢 virtual 嘢咧，例如一啲遊戲啊或者 AR、VR 嘢嘅。咁同時間咧都有啲 tangible 嘅互動式嘅裝置嘅。咁咧我見到互動式嘅裝置，我就覺得好似好有趣咁樣嘅咧，又適合我喎，跟住我就最後就揀咗呢科啦。咁啱啱都有講過啦，我哋可能會需要少少 technical 嘅嘢嘅。咁我嗰陣時 時咧就拎住兩樣嘢嚟 in 呢一科啦，咁就係 live 2D 同埋 motion capture 嘅。咁嗰陣時就對呢兩方面有興趣啦。咁同時都見到其實我哋樓下 ground floor 嗰度咧就有個拍攝棚嘅，咁入面咧有個好大嘅綠幕啦，同埋一個 motion capture suite 嘅。咁所以咧我嗰陣時咧就覺得唔得，我一定要讀呢科，我為咗呢度嘅資源一定要讀到呢一科。咁所以咧係啦，咁我就喺度出現咗啦。好，咁之後咧就簡單講下我哋到底讀啲咩嘅。咁啱啱都有講過啦，其實要讀少少 coding 嘅 which 我係完全冇諗過要讀嘅，因為咧佢真係好深奧啦。跟住咧我中學係讀 BA， 跟住我 top 即係我之後就 HEC 係讀 visual communication， 完全冇掂過 coding 啦。咁我嗰班嘅同學咧係嚟自五湖四海㗎啦，可能有1/3咧係嚟自呢個遊戲設計或者係 coding programming 嘅同學嚟嘅。咁咧唔緊要，我哋嘅老師咧會手把手咁教你嘅。咁咧我哋會揾阿 journal 啦，會開燈暗掣咁樣啦。跟住咧有陣時會出去去隔離 faculty IC 嗰邊咧去學揾嘢嘅。咁呢啲咧老師都要手把手咁教你嘅，所以唔需要擔心，係我呢啲新手都要學得識嘅。係啦，咁學呢個 coding 方面咧，啱啱開始都有講過啦，最主要咧都係一個輔助嘅啫，令到你更好咁表現你嘅 prototype，去展示佢到底互動嘅方式係啲咩咯。咁如果你識嘅話咧，就會係一個優勢去表現到你個作品嘅特點喺邊度。但如果你唔識嘅話都唔緊要，我哋會教你，或者係最 worst case 真係學唔識唔緊要，我哋可以砌啲 demo 出嚟嘅，即係cap 圖咁樣 cap 出嚟都 OK 嘅，係啦。咁嗰陣時就燈啊，同埋啲鋼琴啦。咁你見到我係完全少咗個 pass 啦，但係佢 work 到嘅，係啦。咁咧呢個啱啱都有講過啦，我哋有一批同學咧係中意做遊戲設計嘅，咁所以咧我哋都會做我哋會有一堂咧叫做 VR game design 啦。咁咧我好記得咧嗰陣時咧呢個 PS5 咧仲係非常之罕有嘅嘢嚟嘅，咁要抽先抽到嘅。咁咧，我哋係課堂上咧係可以玩到嘅，咁同時間咧都可以喺堂上面玩啦，示範點樣玩呢個遊戲啦，啲好個遊戲嘅特質係啲咩啊？咁你最後要做出嚟嘅嘢係點樣樣咧？咁我哋嗰陣時都會學到嘅。咁咧我就 call 呢堂咧叫做中細玩樂堂嘅。咁因為咧你之後做個 project 咧，你都會組成一個小組啦，跟住每個小組咧都會攞得個 VR 裝置啦。咁咧呢個學期期間咧，你攞個 VR 裝置玩其他遊戲咧，都完全可以嘅。咁因為都係認識遊戲嘅一部分咁樣樣啦，咁所以咧就係咁樣樣啦。如果你見到咧，我係完全唔識得 coding 嘢啦，咁所以我學 Unity 嘅時候咧，佢唔知點解咧係啲公仔會飛嚟飛去嘅。係啦，不過唔緊要，你組隊嘅時候咧，即係做 group project 組隊嘅時候咧，揾啲熟悉嘅同學咧就可以㗎啦。係啦，有一批咧係會識嘅，咁所以揾佢哋咧就可以㗎啦。好啦，咁呢科咧其實所有科都有㗎，不過呢科比較特別少少嘅咧，佢就會同其他major 嘅同學同埋或者係甚至其他 faculties 嘅同學咧去做 project 嘅。咁我讀嗰科咧叫做類似環保嘅設計咁樣樣啦。咁咧我係 interactive design 嘅同學，再加一個 product design 嘅同學，再加隔離兩個 faculties 嘅product engineering 嘅同學嘅。咁咧product design 好明顯啦，就係設計嗰個作品啦，佢要咩 shape 啊，或者佢嘅光要幾光啊咁樣樣咧，佢都會設計好㗎啦。咁咧我咧就負責少少輔助啦，例如佢點樣互動啊，即係你冇理由齋開盞燈咁就完成㗎嘛。咁例如我哋可以令到佢漸光漸暗啊，跟住或者唔用筆頭，我哋用扭嘅方式去開盞燈咁樣樣咧，我哋都會做呢個 suggestion 嘅。咁我哋上堂都會學翻點解要咁樣做啊，咁樣做點樣好處咁樣樣嘅。跟住 engineering 嘅同學咧就負責讀曲咯。咁我就負責係類似一個橋梁咁樣嘅角色咧，去幫佢哋做溝通啦，同埋都係令到個作品更加好咁樣樣嘅。咁最後咧個作品就有個戶外展咁樣樣啦，係啦。好，跟住咧就係 cooperative project 嘅。咁佢就類似係你會同一個現實世界嘅真實公司咧去合作。咁咧呢一個堂咧最緊要或者你最重要學到嘅嘢咧，係知道現實世界到底係需要啲乜嘢啦，同埋你點樣同客戶去做溝通嘅。咁我嗰陣時咧就係揀咗東亞銀行啦。咁東亞銀行係我哋呢個 interactive design 嘅好朋友啦。咁你每年都會揾佢哋去佢哋會揾我哋去做呢個 project 咁樣樣嘅。咁呢個 project 咧主要都係做 UI UX design 嘅，係因為佢哋係東亞銀行有個 app 啦，佢哋想更好咁發展佢個 app 啦，咁所以我哋嗰陣時咧係整咗個 app 出嚟咧，係關於投資嘅，就將投資呢件事咧遊戲化咗佢。咁遊戲化呢樣嘢咧，都要喺我哋讀書嘅時候會學到啦。咁同埋 UI skills 咧都會係上學嘅時候學到嘅。咁 cooperative project 咧，同埋我哋 final year project 咧，都係算比較大嘅一個一個堂咁樣樣嘅。咁咧佢就會係好似砌圖咁樣樣啦，將你識嘅 skills 砌埋一個拼圖咁樣樣，去完成你一個 project 嘅。咁一定有人識得擅長某啲嘢，或者唔擅長某啲嘢嘅，咁呢個時候咧，都係嗰句組隊揾翻啲可以彌補到你缺點嘅同學咁樣樣咯。係，咁咧都係嗰句啦，大家嚟自五湖四海咧，其實好容易就可以組到一個完美嘅隊伍嘅啦，係啦。係，咁啱啱都係講過咧，我哋呢一科咧會教啲 research skills 啊，或者 interview skills 同埋 user test skills 嘅。research 同埋 interview 咧就好顯而易見啦，咁大家都知道係啲咩㗎啦，咁就會係作文開始之前咧，我哋要了解個 user 嘅需要係啲咩啦，咁就會有 second hand 同 first hand research，就係啱啱講嘅 research skills 同埋 interview 嘅。咁咧去到中間啦，你知道咗後面需要啲咩，呢個世界缺乏咗啲咩之後咧，你就拎咗個答案，跟住你呢個答案咧去做個草圖，跟住咧好似代數咁樣咧，將嗰個答案咧，去擺翻落個解題嗰度啦，去睇翻呢樣嘢係咪真係 work 喎？咁所以咧，我哋就要做 user test 啦。咁 user test 咧，咁啱啱大家都見到咧，我係個 I 人嚟嘅，咁所以 user test 同 interview 對我嚟講係非常之困難啦。咁我嗰陣時咧，仲要係做小朋友題出嘅，咁所以咧係你冇得揾同學幫你就咁就做啦，即係你嘅 target audience 如果係大學生或者成年人咗，咁你可以捉你啲同學幫你去做嘅，或者捉隔離班嘅同學幫手都 OK 嘅。但如果係小朋友嘅話就比較困難啦。咁我嗰陣時嘅解決方法咧，就係去公園嗰度捉啲小朋友，同埋佢哋嘅家長去問佢哋少少問題咁樣樣啦。咁咧個 skills 咧你要拿捏得非常之好嘅。咁咧喺上學嘅時候咧都會學到啦。咁咧比較特別少少，覺得大家可以了解多少少咧，就係 user test 咧就唔單止一問一答咁樣樣，唔似 interview，其實 interview 都唔係 interview 同埋 user test 都唔止一問一答啦。你之後咧就會學到哦，原來佢哋一問一答，佢哋未必係答到佢心目中嘅答案。即係例如話，你覺得呢個點樣樣啦？跟住佢係話OK 啦，咁樣咁你知道佢係唔 OK 㗎嘛？即係如果佢咁樣嘅態度語氣嘅話啦，係啦，咁咧所以咧你要識得少少讀心。你要睇下佢個表情啊，或者佢嘅肢體動作係點樣樣嘅，咁呢個咧就會幫助到呢個 user test 啦。咁咧就係咁樣樣啦。咁嗰陣時咧，我就拎咗塊白板啦，跟住砌咗啲 prototype 啦，跟住俾啲小朋友啊，你幫我砌嚿嘢出嚟啦，咁樣樣，跟住就觀察下佢哋嘅反應啊，或者佢哋到底係需要啲乜嘢啊，想啲咩咁樣樣咯。好啦，跟住我哋仲有啲意想不到嘅 skills 會學到嘅，例如咧我唔識 3D modeling 啦，所以我個 3D model print 出嚟咧係錯晒嘅。咁唔緊要，我哋咧可以磨佢嘅，但係我唔係專業磨嘢嘅人嚟㗎嘛，但係我識得整指甲喎，所以咧我就拎咗指甲嘅嗰啲磨嘅嗰個嘢咧去磨嗰個邊位啦，令到佢啱 size 嘅。跟住咧鋸木嗰 part 咧呢度都有。鋸木嗰 part 咧我都唔識鋸嘅，但係我個 group 嚟咧係讀呢個建築嘅，咁所以佢係識得鋸木嘅。咁所以咧我就揾咗佢嚟幫我鋸啦。咁我覺得成件事好神奇嘅，係啦。咁就係咁樣啦。我哋樓下個木工頭咁咧就喺嗰度鋸咯。呢個就啱啱講嘅 final year project 啦。咁咧你可以拎個 final year project 咧出去比賽，即係我哋本身 internal 都有少少比賽嘅。咁嗰陣時咧就參加咗個比賽啦，咁就攞咗獎咁樣樣嘅，係啦。跟住咧都係好特別嘅，就係你要同現實世界嘅人去 present 嘅，係啦。係啦，咁我嗰陣時咧就融合咗呢個 tangible 嘅互動式嘅裝置啦，再加呢個 UI/UX design 嘅，跟住再加埋啱啱所講嘅遊戲化，將草紙呢樣嘢遊戲化咗佢，令到佢成件事更加有趣，同埋令到啲人更加想去做。咁呢個就係我哋 interactive design 主要想達到嘅目的咯。好啦，咁呢個係我哋平時得閒啊，或者完咗成之後要做啲咩嘅。咁咧，因為我哋間房非常之大啦，咁其實有2個 projector，咁我哋通常都用一個啦。因為我 我哋就係會拎部 Switch 翻去玩，跟住有人會拎 PS5 翻去玩，跟住係咯，大家就會一齊圍埋一齊去玩咁樣樣咯。跟住去到最後咧，我哋有陣時會全班一齊去 party room 啊，傾下偈咁樣樣咯。總之我哋大家非常之 close 嘅，大家都 keep contact 嘅。咁啱都有講過啦，我哋同學一係就 UX design 變翻 UX/UI design 啦，一係咧就係一個遊戲設計嘅設計再加 development， 跟住再加一個tangible 嘅 product design 咁樣樣嘅。咁主流都係呢幾方面啦。咁我哋嗰屆咧都類似係咁樣樣。好啦，咁可以講下我而家做緊啲咩啦，同埋點解嘅。咁啱都有講過啦，我而家係做呢個 STEM education 嘅。咁咧主要係因為我哋 PolyU 有一個非常非常特別嘅科咧，叫做 service learning。咁咧佢係類似做義工咁樣嘅。你可以選擇我嗰屆咧，你可以選擇去非洲砌 WiFi 塔，或者去耕田，或者係去做呢個小學 STEM 比賽嘅導師。咁我就揀咗去做導師嘅。咁咧下面呢個咧就係我跟住啲小朋友咧去做嘅嗰個 outcome 啦，你見到就 Arduino 嘅，係啦。咁呢個就係我 apply 咗我學到嘅 skills 啦，同埋因為佢哋參加比賽，所以我都要諗下點樣 guide 佢哋去 design 一樣嘢啦。咁所以咧我就融合咗我嘅 technical skills 同埋 design skills 咧，就喺呢個 service learning 上面啦。同時間咧，我仲要喺 PolyU 嗰個 design 呢度打工嘅。咁我份 part time 咧，除咗做 tour guide 之外咧，我都有做 Hash Award 嘅coordinator 啦。咁嗰陣時咧，我就幫手，即係又係帶學生去比賽咁樣，因為本身 Hash Award 係個比賽啦。咁咧我就要 guide 住佢哋，點樣設計會好啲啊咁樣樣。跟住我就發現咧，成件事好有趣咯，令到佢哋食住到呢樣嘢，或者令到佢哋突然之間叮攞嗰樣嘢嘅嗰下好有趣。咁所以咧，我而家就係做緊呢一科咁樣樣。呢一行係啦，而家係我做緊嘅嘢啦，我會教啲我而家教緊啲學生咧做緊 3D printing 嘅嘢啦，同埋有陣時少少 coding 嘅嘢，例如機械車或者 AR camera 咁樣樣嘅，咁都係融合咗我嘅 design skills 啦，同埋 technical skills 咁樣樣嘅。好，咁今日就我嘅 sharing 就去到呢度先啦，thank you。